Vítame vás na dnešnom kultúrnom zápase, v ktorom sa stretne vyzývateľ z Košíc Šándor Máraj s borcom z Prahy Francom Kafkom v boji o titul Európskeho mesta kultúry. Áno, zápas sa začína. Košice spolu s celým Slovenskom sú v napätí. Franc útočí a Šándor si pred jeho direktom nešikovne krije tvár. Je zasiahnutý, ale tvrdo opláca Francovi, je to neuveriteľné, ale stalo sa nemožné. Máraj, slovenský reprezentant, víťazí KO. Na Francovej tvári môžeme vidieť, že boj o umenie skutočne boli, ale každopádne titul mesta kultúry ostáva stále v Košiciach.
The idea of creative industry started in the 90s, while the last coal mines were closed. Then we realized that only 20,000 people were working in the coal mining sector, but 3 times as much were working in the creative industries. So the ministry by themselves said, if this is such a large industry branch and it's growing, why don't we use this to regenerate our cities? The development of creative industry started with a good research, which has been done 2007 on the question how creative industries is presented in the 53 cities within the region. And they discovered that they had some 30,000 companies, some 70,000 employees, which are working in this area. And after this research, we decided to set up very specific branch commissions, which were focusing on the sectorial support. And the sectorial support we started in design because we knew here we had some 3,000 designers which need an international promotion so that they can gain new markets. We knew we had the biggest club scene, some 250 clubs in the Ruhr region. They never cooperated before. Now, knowing that there are so many, we said, why don't you cooperate, you can gain. That's the way we kind of worked ourselves through the creative industries. The coal mine Zollverein was an innovation in itself when it started 1830. It was the idea to combine several different coal mines to one large, and by this, to generate more coal per hour. This idea was so effective that Zollverein became the largest coal mine in the world and was in fact something like the industrial heart of Europe after the Second World War. Now, when steel and coal was produced better and out of Germany, Zollverein was not needed any longer and was closed down. Zollverein, you have to imagine as a city within the city. It is as large as Essen and it's usually spread out. And to leave this area empty, not to reuse it, would have been a danger to the whole rest of the region. By the International Building Exhibition, the idea came up to reuse all the industrial sites as industrial heritage, to use it for lightning exhibition, to use it for tourism, or for swimming pools, or for family events, because there were fantastic sites to discover. You have to imagine that all those coal mining sites have been non-public sites. They have been off-limits. They were never visited by the children of all the workers being there. So there was a large curiosity also to kind of retake this large space back into the public space and heart of the city. And this idea was then put into action by a master plan how to reuse Zollverein, which was done by Rem Koolhaas, this very famous Netherlands architect. And so step by step it was rebuilt with more than 100 million euros investment. A lot of the soil was polluted, it had to be taken away. Alone this needed years to do. Now, in the year of the cultural capital, the Ruhr Museum, the regional museum for the Ruhr region, reopened. And it generates a lot of visitors, tens of thousands more than we ever expected. Zollverein used to have some 1 million visitors per year. Now it has already, before the year closed, 2 million visitors. So you see there is really a public interest. And that's in effect is the real source of the regeneration, the interest of the public. If there is not the interest of the public, you have no chance to reuse those large buildings, no matter how many money you invest. The city of Marxloh, you had almost half of the population working in this coal mine. The coal mine closed down some 15 years ago, and immediately this city, Marxloh, fell almost empty. Thousands of people moved away. So what would the people do staying there? And foremost it was a Turkish population. Some of the people in Marxloh had the idea to set up shops for wedding dresses because they knew this is something people would always have to do, no matter how bad the economy is. So in this situation of the people fleeing Marxloh, they invested in this simple idea of marrying and investing in the future with children. And today, you have more than 30 shops, all in the field of dresses around marriage. You have restaurants and you have a real shopping mall for marriage, which for the Turkish scene, Turkish population, is the address of the whole of Europe. People come there for a whole weekend to buy everything they need. And this, of course, revitalized the whole city area. It's one of the development sites within the Ruhr where you have the most foreign visitors, city planners, architects looking how such social economy, creative economy is really motivating people to stay. Here at this place exactly has been the former Folkwang Museum, which has been the place of famous large exhibitions for over 30 years. Folkwang was an industrial family, and they had the idea to support industry, science and art, and for this reason they donated their art collection in this Folkwang Museum. This museum has been donated again by the industry. Famous famous Mr. Beitz, who is the leader of one of the large industrial foundations, at one time was on vacation and had the idea, I have to donate this museum as my present for the culture capital to the people of Essen, and he decided to invest by his foundation some 50 million euros. After this investment, you had other large companies in the Ruhr region who felt motivated to do the same thing. And they invested an amount of about 20 million euros in another museum in Duisburg. So you see that the cultural capital was not only an investment by the public state of some 60 million euros, but even more so investment by private companies. In fact, the private investment was much larger than the public investment.